2, 3, and.
All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Royal Remnant Community, the Black Beauty and Business Podcast. This episode is going to be absolutely amazing. I have an awesome man who is going to give us some education on what it means to be Black, beautiful, in business, and making money. Okay. So, one of the first things that I wanted to talk about, and I noticed when doing a little research on him and kind of following him over the past year or so, is his discipline. And discipline is one of those words where people either respect it or they avoid it, right? But there comes a point where we have to actually stop making excuses and start requiring alignment. And so that's what this episode is going to be about. Hopefully, you get something out of it. Please comment, share, and let's get into it. So, Mr. Brown, if that's what you want me to call you, or Mr. Michael or Michael, introduce yourself for me.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Michael Brown. I'm also a major in the United States Army. I'm from Hardyville, South Carolina, which is in between Beaufort, South Carolina, and Savannah. 27 years in the military. I started off as an enlisted soldier as an E1, airborne medic, and then became a nurse. And now I'm a psych nurse looking to retire within the next year. So that used to be my, I would say, full-time job. It's kind of like my side job now because I do a lot more real estate. So I'm also an investor, and I go by the author investor on Instagram and other social media platform. Most importantly, I'm a father of 2 boys, Kingston Alexander, who's 13, and that is my baby in my heart, and then also Michael Brown Jr., who I consider the crown. I'm also a son and child of God. I am a believer, and I couldn't be here without him.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that opens up a lot of doors for this conversation. So I am a military brat. So that is one of the things that kind of made me like, he's a major in the military, and he's doing real estate investment. But I noticed that a lot of people that are in the military, I don't know if a lot of people take advantage of the resources that the military provides. Did the military assist with the more real estate? Like, did you kind of combine it? Like, what made you switch, in a sense, from military, serving the country, to now doing this?
Okay, so the military is absolutely part of the formula. And I would say the cathartic moment I had was not getting picked up for captain, which is like an 03 look. Jimmy was supposed to be an automatic, but due to the political climate and the downsizing of the Army, they weren't picking up captains. And it was the first time I realized that I was kind of vulnerable being in the military, when generally it was a straightforward kind of thing. So I always knew I wanted to get into real estate. I needed what I would call a W-2 job and something that was going to give me consistent income. So I started out with nursing, and then to get the benefits that I have is, joining the military, of course, and have that retirement for that residual income. Like I said, the moment I doubled down on it was not getting picked up, and I saw kind of my career start to fold. And in my mind at that moment, I decided, you know what, I want to create enough residual income to replace my military income. So there are so many ways you can leverage the military to actually create a real estate portfolio. I'm not sure why more people don't do it, but I will say one of the things I have learned with dealing with people, my peers, and watching other soldiers, is that the military provides a comfortable lifestyle. So if you don't have a strong, compelling reason why you want to discomfort yourself outside of your daily duties, you're probably not going to do it. My life outside the military is the reason why I went so hard to create my real estate portfolio.
Okay, so and how long have you been in the military?
So I'm going on 27 years of service, and that's about 21 to 22 years active duty.
Okay. So with the transition and not being picked up as captain, we all understand how politics and all that stuff works. And having to build that residual income, did you dive like head first into real estate, or did you like, okay, let me kind of do some research? Let me did you just go in blind, like, oh my gosh, in a panic mode, or how did that work? Did you create a strategy at first, or?
So I already had pretty much the formula, and I was just kind of cruising along, leaning more towards my military career as my main focus. And I was already buying properties. I actually chose to come to Fort Gordon, which is where I'm at now. I'm about to retire due to the military, due to the housing market here, to actually get into real estate. I always knew I was going to do that. But like I said, I was a little comfortable at the time. And I think at the time I had about 3 to 4 properties, and they were doing great, most money I've ever seen. And especially when you think about my military pay. But when the military pay became, in jeopardy and vulnerable, I realized, oh, I can lose this livelihood. And also was kind of an ego hit, and I took it as an indictment on who I am as a man. And I made up in my mind, like I made up in my mind a long time ago about asking my father to buy a car, that I won't allow anybody to stop me from living the life I wanted to live. And because I already had the formula, the only thing I had to do is continue to put more effort and more funds toward it. And that's what I did. So I pretty much just right-sized my energy, kind of shifted from being so military focused to investing more into real estate.
I mean, if you don't mind, how did you come about that formula?
So when I first got to, well, I'm gonna tell you the first time I got bit. So when I was getting out of the military the first time, and I was gonna go back to my hometown, my Hardyville, South Carolina, I sent my wife home just before deployment and told her, hey, I want you to find us a home and stay with your mother, and we're gonna save money to prepare for me to go to college. So she was looking at a bunch of houses then, and a lot of new houses. And I was like, I didn't want to do that. During deployment, I had read a book by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it talked about assets. And I realized I needed to get a property that would cash flow, but also give me something that I can put some sweat equity in. And there was this one property, I think we paid about $40,000 for the property. And looking back, I wish I would have said we should have ran the other way. So after we got that property, struggled with it. When I got out of the military, we refinanced that property. We got $30,000 back in refinance. And this was around 2006, 2007. The most money we've ever seen. We were struggling check to check before then, which is why I sent her home for deployment. With the money I saved during deployment and the money that we made on that property, it was like lightning struck. I was like, I have solved poverty for my family. I knew what I needed to do. And only thing I needed to do was take that money and continue to buy other properties to pay for the other ones. So that kind of just what sparked it. And once I figured out the formula, and I tell people you got to put skin in the game, and then you have to feel the hit to actually kind of get hooked on it. It's like if you don't hit the pipe, you ain't gonna get hooked on it. So after getting that money, more money than I would have gotten in a year from just one decision, it was a no-brainer after that.
Yeah. Like, I can only imagine, right?
Yeah.
I love the fact that you said about the reading of the book. And a lot of times I think we as a culture don't take the time to do the research. We don't take the time to find mentors. We don't take the time to really just kind of, we go in blindside. Like we come up with an idea and it's like, I'm finna hustle. We look at it as a hustle. Like I'm finna just do this, da 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 da. But I love the fact that she was like, look, I read a book. From that book, I want to change. I did what I had to do to make that change. You took the hit, but you didn't let that hit like distract you or detour you from making a better life for your family.
No, not at all.
So when you say put skin in the game, right? What would you recommend for people what is skin in the game? Let me just ask that question. Because everybody's skin in the game is a little bit different. Everybody looks at that a little bit different.
I think it's a very important thing to front load when we're talking about investing in anything. And one of the reasons why I've been so prolific on social media is because I feel like our people have been sold a bill of goods. So there's a lot of so-called gurus and people who are doing it who are telling you that it's going to be overnight, telling you you're not going to have to spend any money, telling you that you can use other people's money, telling you that it's going to be completely passive. And I'm just here to tell you because I don't have a course to sell you, and I wish I can sell you how easy it is. But to be honest, the only thing I'm going to sell you is that I'm proof that it works. Okay. But the operative word is work. And skin looks like a good budget that produces savings, first off. Another thing that I see people that they're not willing to do. So I told you before we got on here that I was afraid my roommate might come down. I have 2 roommates in my house. So I got over like 35 properties and about 40 properties under management. And I still have roommates. Nothing, I rent everything. When I ask people, hey, when they tell me they want to get into real estate, I say, hey, what are you doing? They live in a 2-bedroom house. Will you consider renting that out? Because that's the easiest money you're ever going to make. That's the best real estate investment you're going to make, the one that doesn't come out of your pocket. They tell me I couldn't dare do that. And that kind of give me a insight into who I'm dealing with and are they willing to. For me, I was willing to do anything. My situation was so dire. And that's another thing. Real estate happened upon me because it was necessity. My mother was losing her house. I was always paying for it. I essentially lost my marriage behind trying to save my family. And I couldn't figure out the financial part. I was a hardworking man, and I used to work 1 and 2 jobs, but it was just never enough. I was like, there's gotta be something else. And I tell people, if you don't put the work in, you're not gonna get to that place where your body's gonna naturally give you the answer, because that pain is gonna breed that creativity. And I was pushing carts at Fort Polk, thinking to myself, there's gotta be a better way. So skin in the game is, are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to make sacrifices? Do you have the money, right? Do you have the money? For the longest, I drove a raggedy car, right, that I paid for cash. For the longest, I didn't dress in the nicest things, but I was saving and saving. Every penny went towards my investments. And so without that, you're not going to make it. Yes, somebody will sell you a $10,000, $20,000 course. I've heard this, but you could have took that money and actually invested in something that would have netted you something, or invested in yourself, buying books, or actually getting with a mentor who can actually help you. I find it very hard to find people that will give me money to invest in an actual product, but I could take their money if I wanted to sell them a dream, and that's the God honest truth. So just be ready to do the work. And I would say the last thing when it comes down to work, this speaks to my career as a nurse and a psych nurse, is that I still believe, regardless of whatever technological advances that we have in AI and all these things, is that it takes people helping people. So while I do real estate, my real job is like a social worker. I spend a lot of time talking to people and helping them with their getting connected. A lot of times with agencies, I spend a lot of times talking to them about their problems, encouraging their kids. I feel like I'm the uncle to all my clients' kids. So it's I will be careful about getting into this purely for the sake of money. It's probably the fastest way to lose money.
That is so interesting. And that you said that. And I love that you said that, because like you said, a lot of people are selling dreams. A lot of people are doing these classes and courses. And that's one of the reasons why I was like, I need to talk to him, because I've seen people do all of these classes and courses, and they talk about real estate investment. They talk about this, they talk about that, but I've never seen you promote a class.
No.
Right. And it was like, but you give the information. Like if anybody that follows you on social media, you're giving the information, you're showing them the work. It was one video that I saw where you was taking a property and you kind of gave us a breakdown of this is how much it cost, this is how much I paid, this is, this is how much the DIY is, doing it yourself. And you gave us a breakdown of how to negotiate, how to do this by just watching your video. It wasn't a course, it wasn't a class, but it was like, if you really take the time to listen to what he said in that video and like watch it, you learned a lot. Like I'm not into real estate at this point, would love to be at some point, but watching that video, I'm like, boom, okay, I know what to do. I know how to like, oh, I could do that myself. Like that would save me money. Oh, I could do that myself. I think it was like in the old, I think it was like the bathroom, and you was like, yeah, just clean it up, redo it, fix it up a little bit, use the same stuff. So I love that because it doesn't seem like you're trying to take advantage of people with the information that you're offering, and you have a lot of wisdom to do it. I would ask this question: do you feel like the risk that you take or the mindset that you have, do you feel like that comes from your military background? I know like when you go into the military, they teach you a lot. You got a lot of certain values that come from the military. Do you feel like that helped a little bit?
So the military most definitely give me the advantage with discipline, and it's also with leadership. But far as my mindset and resilience, that's from God. I have to give God credit for giving me the vision, and also for me, it's a purpose. I won't call it a ministry, but others may. So I do it for a bigger cause than my own. I think, I really only needed about 3 to 4 properties when I first started. That's kind of like what I set out to do. But what I realized was that the need was bigger than me. So a lot of the other things that I've done wasn't so much just to add to my portfolio, but it was to add to my knowledge base so that when I do get out and I start to consult people, that I can tell them things with certainty. And part of why I show the videos is, number one, I do not have to sell anything because it sells itself. Like you can actually look these things up. You can see what I paid for them on Zillow. You can see what I sold it for. You can see what I rented it for. When it's good, it sells itself. What I want to do is kind of demystify it, be transparent, and also kind of encourage people if they're thinking about it, if they haven't considered this way, because that kind of what happened to me. Struggling, working 2 jobs as an enlisted soldier, check to check, think to myself, there's got to be a better way with a pregnant wife, an E6 who's in my unit chilling. And I noticed he lived a lot easier than me, and he wasn't hung up on the military. And I watched him for a while, and eventually I was like, hey man, so tell me what's up. And he had owned a bunch of properties. His wife was a real estate agent. And even though I didn't get the gain from him, I got the idea that, oh, this is an avenue. And, I might be that E6 to someone who's listening and watching it. Matter of fact, most of the people, one of my greatest mentors, Jeremy Johnson, he overheard me talking to another lieutenant about investing in real estate, and inspired him to create a whole kind of empire on teaching the thing that I really don't teach. So he's taken on that part of doing the teaching and also doing it in a grand way. So
Jeremy Johnson, he has a twin?
Yes, he does.
Okay, I know him. Him. I follow him as well, but his mom, I knew him from the church. So
okay.
Love what he's doing. Love what he even tried to do for the community. Yeah. I think he's in Africa now, right? I think. Yes.
I want to say he's in Africa right now.
So he's another one that I kind of follow as far as like the real estate, the game, learning the game. He's also one that wants people to have the knowledge to be better, so that Yeah, I know him. So that's dope that y'all like small world out
Yeah.
here. Now as a, because again, this is the Black Beauty and Business podcast. So as a Black man, what does ownership mean to you from that perspective? Not just the family and building generational wealth and having the residual, but just as a Black man that's both in the military and doing that, what does that mean?
So ownership to me is everything. Okay. There are other people who are doing it, and they're highly leveraged. And when I say ownership, I mean ownership in everything. I might scare some people because I am most definitely, I believe in my people. I believe in what we represent. I believe in our excellence and our potential. And so I don't want to just own the properties. I want to own the design of the business, the way I do it. I don't do it like anyone else. Um, yeah, and I don't believe in the convention. I don't feel like it serves us very well. I believe we should own everything. I work with amateur entertainers. I have a studio in one of my buildings downtown in a salon, and I do not believe in, this goes back to why I got into it. I was raised on Section 8. I was raised on welfare. You know, I use Pell Grant, all that good stuff. And while that stuff is good, it's a great stepping stone. But I do feel like, especially in America, the world is kind of like this already, but in America, we have to start taking care of ourselves and owning our own stuff. And I feel like we're at a place where we can. We have the knowledge, we have the prominence. And, coming from the South, you don't get images and you don't get validated as a Black man very often. So in your head, you have this inferiority complex that maybe you're not as good. But let me tell you, as a man who's deployed 2 times, I've been in rooms of people who are very smart and high ranking. And what I learned is, I'm not just good. A lot of times I'm better. And I want our kids, my sons, and my nieces and your daughters to be like, yeah, we're really that good. And I feel like a lot of times when I see a lot of the negativity that is kind of promoted in our community, especially from the media, I want to just shake us because we're so much better. We're just so much better. And I can't wait to see the next generation, or I always pray to God, say, God, please send me somebody to help me that's close to me. And the closest I got right now is my son, and Jeremy was there. But I always say, if I can do 40 by myself, imagine what 2 of me can do. But we have to have the same mindset. We have to own our stuff. And yeah, we got to own our stuff. And a lot of not ownership is borrowedship for the sake of faking it, right? I don't believe in that. I truly just believe you just got to be good, right? You ain't going to cut no corners. But you can have all of that doing it the tough way. You put the hard in the front so you can have the easy in the back. So those 27 years in the military, that might have been hard, but for the rest of my life, I'm taken care of. When I first started out buying those raggedy homes and getting them set up and dealing with those clients, yeah, that was tough. But I'm not complaining about the 6-figure residual income on top of my military income and the 7-figure portfolio, approaching 8-figure portfolio that I have. So you just got to decide, where you want to put your heart. And part of the heart is, like I said, the skin in the game and owning it.
Representation matters. And for me, I do have, 2 daughters. So I try to, make sure that I am who I want them to be, right? Of course, you want your children to be better than you, but you want to set up at least model. And now I have a 6-year-old son. So I look for men, because all you like to see on TV is, or what the media portrays, is either something negative or an athlete. You hardly see the doctors that look like him being portrayed outside of a TV show. Real life doctors, real life nurses, real life real estate business people, like I want to make sure that everybody is represented. And that's kind of one of the reasons how this podcast was birthed, because as I was telling you before we started recording, you know, media has a very bad habit of only putting out the negative. But we don't help it either, because when we're on social media, we will like and comment on a negative post faster than we will like and comment somebody doing something good. It's very rare you see the viral videos of somebody doing something positive going across social media. So I wanted to really change that narrative, and you actually represent something positive. You know, you have that representation out there. Does that, outside of your, and you said it, you did say, because you want to do it for your kids and other people's kids in the community. When it comes to the generational wealth, right? Because now that's residuals, that's what's going to end up, that's what you're building. Outside of social media, how do you think that looks, or what that looks like in real life for real people?
So generational wealth is not necessarily in assets to me. I feel like with the generational wealth, what we've learned statistically is that within a year or two, generationally, I don't care whether you're the Rockefellers, all of your money can be gone, right? If not passed into the right receptacles. So we have to build a generation who can sustain it. I can tell you right now, if I close my eyes, there's not one person in my family that could sustain my portfolio. It is that crazy right now. And the best they would do is just take the life insurance and build their own. I do not tell my kids or my family members to save anything, but to please take what I've created, take the wealth of it, and build your own. Build your own. God put this on my heart to do. I will not burden my kids, but what I do want them to learn is the lessons of resilience, the lessons of spirituality and leaning on God for information, the network that you have to take care of your cousins, about being a Black man, and what does that really mean. So that's the real wealth. I've often told them that because they fight over who's going to get what car. And I said, I don't even think it matters. They might get repoed. But what does matter is that you know how to do it, that you've seen a Black man do it. And so you have the blueprint. If I gave you nothing else, you don't need anything at all. My father's 80. He had a stroke about a year ago. And I didn't meet my father till later in life. And as we're talking about estate planning, and we're looking at, the siblings and how he's gonna, leave his estate. And I was like, Dad, you've given me everything I needed. You could not have the Oddfellow Investor or Major Michael Brown without Oliver Frazier. And regardless of how strained and how tough that relationship is, without him, I wouldn't be me. And so he don't have to give me any money. What he has given me has produced all that you see now, to include my mother. So generational wealth is not tangible assets. We get caught up in things. It is really in knowledge, and that's really what we're missing. We struggle from knowledge on how to manage these assets. Even if I gave it to you pure, you still got to understand how to deal with the equity or get equity out of it. It's its own machine,
That perspective is absolutely amazing, and I'm going to make sure that perspective is heard. Like, let me make sure I clip that because when people talk about generational wealth so much now on social media, they're talking about assets. They're talking about, okay, make sure you get this for your kids and put it in a trust so they don't have to pay this and they don't have to do this. And they talk about all of that. But what they don't talk about is what you just said. They don't talk about passing down the knowledge of how to get it. I know you're a person of faith, but one of the things that it takes me back to is in the Bible, right? You're taught the principles. We can easily be blessed with blessings on top of blessings, right? But we have a Bible that gives us the principles, the process, how to do it. It gives us the knowledge on how to execute, how to strategize, how to do all of that. Because, like you said, materialistic things can be gone today. But if I have the knowledge, you can't take that from me because I can always rebuild.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love that perspective. Which leads into the next question, because I was going to ask you, what is one thing that we're getting wrong with the community when it comes to wealth? But that's it, pretty much. Like, we're not sharing the knowledge on how to get it. Everybody's so focused on not even how to get it, how to sustain it, and how to pass it down. I think we're so much hustling, getting it, and not really taking time to really understand the knowledge behind it. So how do you balance life? Like, you have a lot. You have you have your 2 kids, you have military, you have the real estate. How are you balancing everything?
Whew, I don't. I kind of wish I would have had that question earlier so I could have come up with something better. But
okay.
Every time someone asks me this, and I do see a therapist, even though I work in psychotherapy, and I used to feel bad about my lack of balance. People, when I'm dealing with others, it's hard for them to understand. You get off work and now you're going to get underneath a house, or you're going to deal with somebody's dirty toilet, you know what I mean, so on and so forth. Or waking up in the middle of the night for calls for different issues. It is hard to explain that to the average person, but what I will tell you is that I don't have average outcomes either. So I just decided that I'm willing to live this life to have extraordinary outcomes, and that is part of the sacrifice that we were talking about. So you got to sacrifice some comfort, and part of my sacrifice is that I don't have a good balance. What I've tried to do though is, so like last night I went out. Generally Fridays I go out, especially because I'm trying to get more into the city of Augusta. I try to take each moment that I do have and be present for that and engage that moment. You know what I mean? Very intently, whether I'm in uniform dealing with my patients, they got 100% me at that time. But when I get on the phone and I'm handling business, I am absolutely the businessman at that moment. But over time it takes practice, but you have to really be tuned into what your vision is and how you want to get there. And once you understand that, that's all you need. Balance will come.
He said balance will come. Does it? It does. Look, eventually it does. I have my oldest will be 21 in July. Then today's my middle daughter's birthday, and then I have the 6-year-old. So at one point in time, balance did not exist in my life at all. It was like off work, mommy, like whatever they had going on, whatever activities, whatever this, and then in between that, building the business, building the brand, doing this, so but eventually, as you said, when you're building something and you have a vision and you have a goal, you take those sacrifices, so I don't necessarily say that balance comes. I would say that balance, it gets easier.
Yeah.
It gets easier. Because I feel like you're always going to be like this at some point in time. I don't feel like it's ever going to be like this. Yeah. I feel like you're always going to be tipping on one side of the scale, one way or the other. But I think how you deal with it mentally and how your body physically deals with it, gets easier. It gets easier. So how how do you stay grounded? Like, you have a lot of high pressure deals, especially talking about 8-figure portfolio. You are a major in the military. Like I said, I'm a military brat, so I can only imagine what type of pressure you have had to go through. Yeah, I've been around military all of my life. How do you stay grounded when it comes to that?
Man, the same reason and the same reason why I'm here. I kind of been shot out of a dark place of Hardyville, South Carolina, and into where I'm at. And the beauty of my life is that I got to see both sides, and continually I'm attached to those. So I still have to take care of my mother, who is still in Hardyville. I still have to take care of my sister, who reminds me, these people see me as Michael, the little boy. I still have to go visit my brother, who's incarcerated, and deal with his sons. And no matter how high I get, that was the reason why I did it. So I never forgot that. I think for a lot of people, it is more tangible and materialistic on their why. Mine is deeply emotional, down to almost probably psychological. The reason why it's hard for me to stop is because it's just so ingrained. And they keep me grounded. When I think about them, my little sister, she struggles with a disabled son, and her, who also have disabilities, has made it work her whole life with very little. Take whatever little I give her and thank God and is grateful for it. And then just to see, others in my family, to me, I feel like I'm carrying the flag for them. And that's who I represent. I was raised in a place where people in my family were looked down upon. And I take great pride in proving otherwise.
That is because we have to. Like, I don't think in order for us to be successful out here in this world, we have to prove people wrong.
Yes.
It's amazing how far that I've, to see and this is rare, right? But to see a Black man as a major in the military, right? A lot of people see a Black man doing 27 years. You have a lot of us getting in there for the benefits. We out for 8, 16. I think some people do 20, 22. All right, I'm going. You got my 20 years, I'm out. Yeah. So to see you go that far, you've already proven them wrong, period. You get what I'm saying? So it's amazing. And then I love the fact that you allow where you've come from to keep you grounded, because you do have those people, and I've come across those people in our culture that have forgotten where they come from. And it's like, wasn't you on Section 8 and food stamps, and now you're looking down at people that was on Section 8 and food stamps? Like, yeah, wasn't it you? And so it's I love that, because it keeps you humble. And then it helps you to realize, like, one, I'm gonna keep striving because I don't want to go back there. But two, I have empathy for people that are there. Absolutely. And I know a plan on how to help people come from there. So I love that. Yeah. What do you, as we kind of wrap it up a little bit, what kind of advice do you give to our culture about commanding their wealth, whether that's the knowledge, the assets? I know you already said it's not so much the assets, but just about commanding wealth in general. What kind of advice do you give to our culture, our people?
Whew, man. So when it comes down to dealing with wealth, I think Blacks have, historically been very resilient and good at making a lot happen with a little. we have had many prominent individuals, to include myself, work and do great things. You have your Oprahs, you have your Tyler Perry, right? But what we don't have, right, and what we do need to do is to start networking more. And that's what we're missing. We're missing the exponential growth. We're missing the multiplication. And it's like I tell people, it's like 5-on-1 sometimes when I'm doing deals. And if we want to command and own our things, we have to own our communities, and we have to kind of own our narratives. And we have to decide what it is. Right now, I think the culture is trying to figure out: are we going to be led by entertainers and athletes? Is that who's going to give us our marching orders, right? Or are we going to go with a more erudite academic side? Are we going to, right now, we don't have a great message, right? We are all over the place. And it seems to be a lot of culture clashing, all right, with that, to include some divesting, right? So I think we have to start loving ourselves and loving our things and owning our things, like you said before. And then we'll be able to see it grow, a lot better. I would love for us, for the sake of this conversation, to get back to the basics when it comes down to doing things the right way for the right reasons. And even though we come from the ghetto, we do not have to be the ghetto. Okay. Even though we might be from the hood, leverage it when you need it. Because I ain't gonna lie, I do it every time. I have to let somebody know we can take you there. All right. But shouldn't be your default, right? And then also you should have a more righteous cause. We have to first heal over this trauma, and also we have to start with our music. We have to start with the things we read. We have to start with the things that we see, and we have to have a collective effort where, we're changing the message. If not, we're not going to make it. It is hard to tell kids and people to do things a different way when everything else is telling them the wrong way of doing it. I liken it. I tell my sons this all the time. I said, it is going to be very hard for you to be you. It is very hard for daddy to be me. You have to be intrinsically motivated to be the man that I'm trying to raise you to be, because the world is going to deny you and they don't want to see that version. So if we want good, we have to invest in good, right? If we want these outcomes, we have to make the investment. We have to call out the bad. We have to address the negative behavior. And I don't think I know no rapper or entertainer necessarily speaks for me, right? When I was coming up, I read Alex Haley, I read Richard Wright, I read the intellectuals because I want to think like an intellectual, right? And I want to understand our culture versus some of the other things that that I could have done. All right, I was never going to be an athlete, and I wasn't much of a rapper. But what I have done is, you can replicate this over and over. Anybody can do this at some level, all right? And I challenge anybody who doubts me. You can just hit me up.
You done start out, but I'm not gonna go. You done started a whole nother conversation. But I love that. I love that you. One of the things that I did pick out, and I hope people caught that too, is we have to heal from our trauma. We have to acknowledge that there's trauma there. We need to heal from it. I love the fact that you said we got to network. We got to stop being in competition with each other. We got to network, and we got to love ourselves. And I think that's very, very important, because you see other cultures, they come together, they build together, we're like the only culture that doesn't do that, so I think it starts with everything that you just said. One of the things that we do here at the end of every podcast, I'm gonna give you a statement. I like you to fill in the blank. It doesn't have to be one word. It could be however you want to fill in the blank. Okay. But basically it is Black is blank.
Whew. Black is powerful.
I love it. Because we are. And I think if we really take that mindset that we are powerful. We could do so much more as a community. We could do so much more building the community and healing the community. So thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you for all of the knowledge and wisdom that you have given on today, your perspective. We definitely have to talk about networking and your portfolio. So Royal Remnant Community, follow him on all social media platforms. They will be posted in the descriptions. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And thank you for all for tuning in today. Hope you all have a great week.
Thank you.